Naira swap policy. Legal practitioners and eminent Nigerians pick holes in President Buhari's nationwide broadcast on Naira swap policy implementation. Governor Akeredolu appoints former Chief Judge to head Ondo State Anti-Corruption Commission. And from the foreign sea, Israeli parliament passes law to revoke citizenship and residency of Palestinians imprisoned for terrorism. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Akinwumi Abojunde. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to release old 200 Naira notes back into circulation to coexist with the new 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira banknotes for 60 days. He, however, said old 500 and 1,000 Naira banknotes are no longer legal tender in Nigeria. The president, who made this known in a nationwide broadcast, directed the CBN to make the new notes available to all citizens.
Deeply pained and sincerely sympathizing with you all over these unintended outcomes. To stem this tide, I have directed the CBN to deploy all legitimate resources and legal means to ensure that our citizens are adequately educated on the policy, enjoy easy access to cash withdrawal through availability of appropriate amount of currency and ability to make deposits. I have similarly directed the CBN should intensify collaboration with anti-corruption agencies so as to ensure that any institution or persons found to have impeded or sabotaged the implementation should be made to bear the full weight of the law. During the extended phase of the deadline for currency swap, I listened to invaluable pieces of advice from well-meaning citizens and institutions across the nation. I similarly consulted widely with representatives of the state governors as well as the Council of State. Above all, as an administration that respects the rule of law, I have also noted that the subject matter is before the courts of our land and some pronouncements have been made. To further ease the supply pressures, particularly to our citizens, I have given approval to the CBN that the old 200 Naira banknotes be released back into circulation and that it should also be allowed to circulate as legal tender with the new 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira banknotes for 60 days from February 10th, 2023 to April 10th, 2023 when the old 200 Naira notes ceases to be legal tender. In line with Section 20, subsection 3 of the CBN Act 2007, all existing old 1,000 Naira and 500 Naira notes remain redeemable at CBN and designated points. Considering the health of our economy and the legacy we must bequeath to the next administration and future generations of Nigerians, I admonish every citizen to strive harder to make their deposits by taking advantage of the platforms and windows being provided by the CBN. Let me assure Nigerians that our administration will continue to assess the implementation with a view to ensuring that Nigerians are not unnecessarily burdened.
The president apologized to Nigerians over the difficulty experienced in the implementation of the Naira redesign policy. Meanwhile, Nigerians have called on the federal government to allow commercial banks receive old Naira notes of 500 and 1,000 Naira denominations, rather than centralizing the collection at the Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters in the different state capitals. The call follows President Muhammadu Buhari's broadcast to the nation, where he stressed that the old 500 and 1,000 Naira notes have ceased to be legal tender. Zahid Aribisala reports that some legal practitioners and political scientists described the president's stance as an affront against the Supreme Court and democracy.
Weeks after the takeoff of the Central Bank of Nigeria Naira redesign policy and the attendant Naira scarcity leading to long queues at commercial banks, as well as days of protest, President Muhammadu Buhari finally makes the much anticipated nationwide broadcast.
I am deeply pained.
While stressing the importance of the policy to include boosting economic growth, fight against insecurity, money laundering, among others, the president says the policy has so far yielded success.
We are reliably informed that since the commencement of this program, about 2.1 trillion naira out of the banknotes previously held outside the banking system had been successfully retrieved.
Reactions have, however, started trailing some key pronouncements of the president, eliciting divergent opinions from Nigerians.
Behind every policy that government come up with, he has his own, they have their reasons. And the reason behind that cannot be far-fetched from the fact that is to better the lives of Nigeria. It might not be, the effect might not be immediate, but it has future effects on our national development.
I think the speech of the president tried to dull the tension, but I expect that speech to have come earlier than now. That's my observation. It's a thing that will ease the tension in the country now, but I don't think we should wait until we have this kind of unrest, destruction, loss of life, and hardship before this president will speak to us.
As President Buhari directed the old 200 naira be reintroduced to cushion the hardship of Nigerians, it stands that the old 500 and 1,000 naira ceased to be legal tenders was followed by the directive that the old notes be deposited at the central bank like this one in Akure, Ondo State capital, which is playing host to residents and those from outside the state.
And it's still part of sufferness to our people. I'm from Owena, Ijesa, Osun State. We want him to at least decentralize the system so that we go to our subsidiary banks, all other commercial banks.
Old notes, 1,500, auto like 800,000. Many bank. What the language?
The president's position on the legal tender, which is against an injunction of the Supreme Court, according to legal practitioner Femi Emodamori, is an abuse of power.
An abuse of power, which is also equal to corruption, under Section 15, Subsection 5 of the Constitution, which of course says that the states shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power. So abuse of power is another side of the same coin that we call corruption. So it was a contemptuous speech.
For a political scientist, Dr. Akinola Adekunle, President Buhari's conviction that the policy will curb money politics may not be achievable.
Because if the new note is available, Nigerians will not complain. Nobody will be on the streets. But the new note is not available.
Concerned Nigerians believe governors who feel the hardship on the people must create means to cushion the effect. The reintroduced 200 naira notes, according to the president, will no longer be accepted after April the 10th. But for some Nigerians, the naira scarcity is a situation that must end in no time. Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
On the president's broadcast earlier today, human rights lawyer Monday Ubani says President Buhari has overruled the Supreme Court with his declaration that old 500 and 1,000 naira notes are no longer legal tender. Ubani said the president's intervention should have been to allow the apex court resolve the matter and not cut short the process. Ubani said the president has not set a proper precedent because the international community is watching and won't have confidence in the country's democracy and judicial process. Similarly, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Ebolu Adegboruwa, has described the announcement by President Buhari that the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes are no longer legal tender as a contempt of court. According to the lawyer and activist, the president flouted the principle of separation of powers. Buhari, in a nationwide address, announced that the old 200 naira note remains legal tender till April 10, but the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes are not. You're watching the news at 7 on Osrc television. We'll take a break at this point. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Báwo la ti fẹ́ sanwó? Farabalẹ̀. 1,000. We go wash plate tire o. Farabalẹ̀ now.
Madam, hello lówó wa.
Brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
1,000 naira credit. Now you turn to 10,000.
Now. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you.
Now what go tell?
Thank you for staying with us on the news at 7. We continue with reactions to the president's broadcast earlier today. The governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, has faulted the ban of old 500 and 1,000 naira notes by President Muhammadu Buhari, despite an order of the Supreme Court saying the 3 old banknotes should remain legal tender till a determination on the case. Wike, in a media chat after the president's national broadcast, described as a corporate interference the pronouncement of the president that old 200 naira notes remain valid for 60 days, while old 500 and 1,000 naira notes cease to be legal tender. Wike said, though the naira redesign policy is targeted at some people, the timing and implementation were wrong. The People's Democratic Party governor said the advisors of the president should have counseled him to respect the Supreme Court order. In the meantime, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says he has met with the leadership of at least 15 commercial banks since President Buhari's broadcast. Emefiele's visit comes hours after the president, in a televised message, announced that only the old 200 naira note out of the redesigned denominations will remain legal tender until April 10, 2023. He said the meeting with the bank executives earlier today was to ensure ample supply of the old 200 naira notes to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians.
No, we are all servants. We are serving Nigerians. As far as I'm concerned, the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation has spoken on this matter, and the President has sealed the whole of the issues in his broadcast. And I think I can only just appeal to Nigerians, let's allow this policy to work. This policy is one policy that goes to solve the problem of reducing corruption and illicit financial flows. This policy goes to resolve some of the problems in the economy. This problem also goes to reducing the level of insecurity in the country. So these 3 issues, which are the tripod of this administration's policy, are all embedded in this policy. We should just allow it to work. We keep saying this. There are some temporary pains, but I can assure Nigerians that the long-run benefit to Nigeria is overwhelming, and we should just give it a chance. to work. President has given his directives. I have met with about 15 banks this morning. Later, and we've given them directives about how they should make all the old 200 naira notes available.
Not leaving issues around the Naira supply challenge, the Association of Senior Staff of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions says banks have lost 5 billion naira across Nigeria following recent attacks and destruction of bank facilities. President of the association, Oluwale Olusoji, at a news conference in Lagos, said aside bank buildings burnt and automated teller machines destroyed, bank officials were also affected. Olusoji said 17 bank branches have been attacked so far. It will be recalled that several commercial institutions had been destroyed by protesters across the country following the scarcity of Naira notes. You're watching the news at 7 on OSRC television. You can also watch us live on our website, www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Undo, and on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Undo. In its quest to bequeath another milestone legacy and redefine governance in Ondo State, the Akeredolu administration is intensifying efforts to complete the ongoing Governor's Lodge at the Government House in Alagbaka, Akure. The project, which was flagged off in June 2021, is being executed through a bond for the economic prosperity of the state and its people. In this special report, Government House correspondent Wahab Bankode takes a look at the progress of work done and the story behind the decision to have a new Governor's Lodge in the state.
I do this in the name of the Father, Amen. And of the Son, Amen.
That was the moment when Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu performed the groundbreaking and foundation laying of the new Governor's Lodge in Ondo State. The ceremony, held on the 4th of June 2021, underlined the commitment of the present administration to have a befitting Governor's Lodge for the state. The governor laid the foundation of a new Governor's Lodge as part of activities marking the first 100 days of his administration's second term in office.
To the glory of God, this foundation stone was laid by Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu, SAN, Governor of Ondo State, Friday, 4th June 2021.
According to the Chief of Staff to Governor Akeredolu, Olugbenga Ali, is long overdue.
What we inherited was a ramshackle. There is this other building, housing the former, which the former governor used. It's supposed to be a new building, but we have so many cracks there. Everybody was afraid that the building could collapse. So that was why we had to consider the presidential lodge, which has just 2 rooms for a governor of a state.
As iconic and important as some infrastructure development projects of the present government are to the social and economic prosperity of the state, one very vital project the state has been lacking for many years is an ideal Governor's Lodge that befits the status of the Sunshine State.
What are the facilities here? What are the features of this new Governor's Lodge that is being prepared by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for the good people of Ondo State?
We have 3 different sections here. This is the main building.
Okay, this one?
This one is the main building of the Governor's Lodge. Okay. And we have this banquet hall. Okay. This banquet hall is for meeting purposes and other functions, any other functions. This banquet hall capacity is for 250 people.
The head of service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, says the importance of a befitting Governor's Lodge is numerous.
If the person who is leading a state, as well as people who will be coming to have things to do with the state, if they, in Yoruba land, and when they come and they see a governor or a government house that cannot be called or be said to be a thing of pride, it tells a lot about our seriousness in the state.
When completed, any governor, irrespective of political affiliation, will have a befitting and presentable edifice to live in and not a liability, as it will join a league of several other iconic projects initiated and completed by Governor Akeredolu administration since assumption of office in 2017. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has nominated former Chief Judge of the state, Justice Williams Akintoroye, as chairman of the Public Complaints, Financial Crimes and Anti-Corruption Commission. A statement by the governor's chief press secretary, Richard Olatunde, said Akeredolu also nominated Professor Adewale Adeyeye, Mr. Christopher Ogungbemi, and Mrs. Fumi Oshundolire as members of the commission. Their names have been forwarded to the State House of Assembly for confirmation, as the governor enjoined the lawmakers to give timely consideration and approval to his request. The new commission will, among other functions, checkmate sharp practices and promote probity and accountability in the conduct of government business. Nigerians have been urged to vote for the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, for youth emancipation and women inclusiveness in government, among other benefits. The appeal came to the fore at the stakeholders' engagement of the youth wing of APC in Ondo State and the Southwest region, held in Akure. While addressing the youth leaders, head of Youth Directorate of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Sheyi Tinubu, said it is time for Nigerian youth to play active roles in politics and governance. Correspondent Olumide Adeluoye was there.
Sheyi Tinubu, the son of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, was ushered into the auditorium in a rousing welcome by student union leaders. He said there will be light at the end of the tunnel and expressed gratitude for the support of the youth leaders and APC leaders across Nigeria for Asiwaju Tinubu's presidential ambition.
I came here to say thank you to every single one of you. To say thank you to every one of you for what you've been doing for the past 1 year, from the primaries to the general election that's coming up now. For the day and nights that you've given up to campaign for our father, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, towards this task of bringing Nigeria into a better place and renew the hope of Nigerians in total.
Earlier, in his welcome address, the convener of the meeting and Director General Performance and Project Monitoring Implementation Unit, Pimu Babajide Akeredolu, reiterated that Ondo State APC is organized towards achieving success at the forthcoming general elections. He appreciated Governor Akeredolu's commitment to youth development and inclusion.
We are very organized, we are very much together, and we can say authoritatively that Ondo State is Asiwaju. Our local is all for us to do a plan of device that we recognize that there's a need for stronger youth participation in politics.
APC Chairman Ade Adetimeyu, represented by the former state youth leader Olutayo Babalayo, said the APC in the state is working towards ensuring that candidates of the party win at all levels.
That begins the youth here, as they leave this place, they are going to go all our way, mobilize, sensitize, and concentrate
in their goodwill messages, Commissioner for Sports and Youth Development, Bamidele Ologun, and his counterpart from Energy, Mines and Mineral Resources Ministry, Razak Obe, opined that the youth in the state are in support of the APC.
The youth you see here are genuine. They are real. They are ready. The reason to support Asiwaju is because it is one of the best minds ever to come to the political landscape of Nigeria.
Also, representative of APC Women Youth Wing, Temitope Wagun, Vice President of National Association of Nigerian Students, Babatunde Hafiz, Progressive youth stakeholders represented by the APC Southwest Zonal Youth Leader, Mr. Kola De Lawal, among others, noted that Ondo State and Southwest region will record high votes in the forthcoming election for all candidates of the party. The state youth leader of the party, Ayo Olawande Wisdom, thanked the youth for believing in the APC. Olumide Adeluwoye, Osrc News.
Christian faithful from various denominations in Akure, the Ondo State capital, have gathered to raise their voices in intercession for Nigeria amidst the ongoing agitations for a better nation. Joy Pius reports that the believers gathered at a playground in Ilekun, in Akure, where they offered prayers for Nigeria.
An urgent call to pray for Nigeria, powered by the Christ Anti-Corruption International in Ilekun, Akure, in collaboration with the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Peace Word, was organized to enable believers intercede for a new Nigeria, and it has as its theme, in Wrath, Remember Mercy, O Lord. The prayer, which is part of a New Year banquet program, was held at an open field in Ilekun, Akure, and had believers from various denominations who came to pray for the nation.
This is what we want you to remember.
The facilitator of the Christ Anti-Corruption International, Pastor Taye Awe Joseph, who led the believers in various prayer sessions, which includes prayer of mercy for Christianity in Nigeria and prayer for the upcoming elections, stated that it is only prayer that can redeem Nigeria from its current situation.
Christian Anti-Corruption International, by the grace of God, is God's establishment in the body of Jesus Christ to aid the ongoing fight against corruption, purposely to ensure the security and the salvation of the Universal Church of Jesus Christ in the world. The Lord says that I should go and unite his people to pray for mercy, so that Christianity will not go to slavery in Nigeria.
Other believers described the move as essential for the development of the nation.
What we are passing through in Nigeria today is a result of corruption that is in the land. Our leaders always legalize corruption in every angle, in every area of Nigeria. So that's why we are gathered together as a Christian to pray against corruption. I know that God answers prayers.
This prayer is going to solve problem, I believe. It will solve a problem and eradicate most of the problem we are passing through in Nigeria.
We are praying for the coming election that let the peace of God reign. So whosoever that heaven is pleased with, God is pleased with, that can be able to rule Nigeria well, that will bring peace in this nation. We need life in this nation, in these Nigerians, in all the other states. We need the life of Christ to flow.
What they are campaigning for is to come back to Christ, and not to Christ alone, but to do what is right, in the right direction. Total eradication of what we call corruption, because there is corruption in Nigeria.
The event also featured the special dedication of Christ Anti-Corruption International Registration Certificate issued by the Corporate Affairs Commission, which legalized their operations as a non-governmental organization. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
Few Nigerian secondary schools have adequate science laboratories to aid learning and improve knowledge of students. It was this discovery that spurred MTN Foundation to renovate and commission a science laboratory worth 60 million naira as Aquinas College, Akure, in the Ondo State capital. Chairman MTN Nigeria Foundation, Julius Adelusi Adeluyi, confirmed that Aquinas College is among the 4 schools shortlisted and screened for the project. Omorela Ngwiji has details.
For the enhancement of the unity of Ondo State, and to the glory of God the Father.
The structure housing chemistry, physics and biology science laboratories of Aquinas College is now a sight to behold, with furniture, solar-powered borehole and alternative power solution installed through the initiative of MTN Nigeria Foundation. The school also got the supply of laboratory equipment and consumables while the laboratory staff were trained by the foundation. Chairman of the foundation, Julius Adelusi Adeluyi, alongside President, Aquinas College Alumni Association, Justice David Olateru Olagbegi, Ondo State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Femi Agagu, Director of the foundation, Dennis Okoro, and the Deji of Akure, Obalade Toyinbo Aladelusi, inspected the project.
We thank God for a day like this.
To Mr. Adelusi Adeluyi, who is an old student of the school, the effort is to impart incoming generation and restore standard of education through secondary schools across the nation.
These young people are looking at you. It's your duty as elders to be able to follow what I've been talking about for 20 years. As elders, you must aspire to inspire the young people before you expire.
President, Aquinas College Old Students Association, Justice David Olateru Olagbegi, lamented that capacity of the laboratory in our secondary schools has been stretched beyond limits, hence the need for refurbishment as demonstrated by MTN Social Foundation.
To continuously render assistance in cash or kind to the Catholic community in meeting these challenges and in administration of what the good Lord has used the college to empower.
Governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, represented by Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Femi Agagu, and the Deji of Akure, Obalade Toyinbo Aladelusi, charged students of the school to make judicious use of the equipment to better their lives.
The import of the ceremony of today about the future of those young kids that are sitting down here and future generation of Aquinas College and all our students in general, and the import of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
The MTN, thank you very much. Because this is not because one of their products is chairman of the foundation, but they merit it. They merit it.
The school principal, Adebisi Jimbola, head of science department, and some students said the new developments would further complement their efforts in science education.
These things cost money, and we have to make sure that it's not only this set that we use it, so many other sets we still use these apparatus.
With this one now, each teacher, they have enough time. Likewise, the students, they learn better.
Now that we're having effective and efficient apparatus in the biology lab, the physics lab, the chemistry lab, we can now make a kind of pact. Like there's now a way for us to trade our future in one direction.
Aquinas College, among other 3 colleges, were the second recipients of the MTN initiative. Omoriola Humbiji, Osrc News.
To end the news at 7, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to release the old 200 naira notes back into circulation. Thank you for being a part of the news at 7. Please enjoy the rest of your night.